Welcome to the video on sums of squares. Let me get this title up on the board for us. Sums of squares. Okay, building off of our concepts so far, again, column 1 here is our raw score, column 2 is our mean, column 3 represents our deviation score, where we are subtracting the raw score from the mean score, column 1 from column 2, to get a deviation score. So again, column 3 is deviation score. But we know from the video on deviation score that if we were to sum up this third column, the sum of this column is 0. In fact, if you want to know if you're calculating variance correctly and standard deviation correctly, if you're hand calculating it and you get to your third column and it doesn't sum to 0, then you know that you've done something incorrectly at this point. It's a nice check for us. Okay, well, one of the things that we can do is to get rid of these negatives, these -3, the -5, the -3, and make everything a positive so it doesn't sum to 0, is to square it. And so we can take a fourth column here and go x minus x bar squared. So if column 3, x minus x bar, is a deviation score, then column 4, x minus x bar squared, is a squared deviation score. So let's just go through and do these quickly. 1 squared is 1. 2 squared is 4. 2 squared here is 4. 1 squared is 1. 3 squared is 9. 5 squared is 25. 0 squared is 0. 3 squared is 9. -3 squared is +9. And +2 squared is 4. Okay, so again, column 4 here is a squared deviation score. And then what we can do, now we can sum this column, and if you sum this column, it will now not add to 0, it will sum to 66. And this sum here, if this column represents kind of squared or squares, right? The squares of these, of the third column, so column 4 equals the squares, then this sum down here is essentially then the sum of the squares. And so there you have it. Variance and standard deviation then are going to be based on this concept right here, where you're going to have a mean, you're going to have a deviation score around the mean. We can't use that because it sums to 0. And so then we get to this fourth column, which is the squared deviation score. We call those squares, obviously, and then we can sum those squares. And in this particular instance, we get 66. 66 equals our sums of squares. This is the concept that we're going to be building on in our next series of videos on variance and standard deviation. Thanks for watching the video.